Good morning, and welcome to Columbus Center for Spiritual Living Morning Meditation. My name is Tammy Evans, and it is my pleasure to be doing this morning's meditation. Please join me in my quiet space by closing your eyes, getting comfortable in your chair, and taking a few deep breaths. Become aware that you are awake. You're stepping out of your dream time and out of your sleep space and getting ready to step into the world for the day. But before you do, allow yourself just to be here. How often do we jump into the day mentally before the day actually starts? We almost plug ourselves in a sense, to the mental space of our day. When we start to check the news or social media, all of a sudden our minds are running around with the rest of the world. So instead of jumping out into the world, just allow yourself to have your own world, your own space. Almost as if there's a bubble around you and there's nothing here but you. Take a few nice deep breaths into your belly, expanding your belly, filling it like a balloon, and then exhaling. As you begin to breathe, notice there's anything pulling you into the future, into the rest of the day. And just come back. Bring yourself back. A great way to call ourselves back, to be back, is to be grounded instead of plugging into the mental space of the day. I would like you to imagine a beautiful tree trunk growing out of your spine. Let that tree trunk extend down into the planet. Allow it to root into the earth. Allow yourself to be rooted and grounded this morning. If you start the day ungrounded, the day tends to go ungrounded. If you're grounded, the world will reflect that groundedness back to you. Let yourself release any stress or anxiety that may be coming up around the day into this tree trunk. Can you relax and let yourself release it? We all know that it's difficult to be relaxed in the middle of the day. And we all just want to do nothing but relax at the end of the day. But can you make yourself relax at the beginning of the day? When it's the easiest? When the sun rises and the rays of light hit the earth, you can see the trees, the flowers, and the animals respond. They are awakening, coming into their morning. As you awaken, notice your sense of calmness and gratitude for life. Notice your breath and be grateful for the air that comes into your body. Notice the room that you are in, the space that you have. There is so much to be grateful for. Enjoy the gratitude. Ask yourself a question. Are you here in this life just to get through it? Or are you here to enjoy it? To be grateful, to celebrate. Sometimes we believe that gratitude is a luxury, but for a happy, healthy life, gratitude is a necessity. Allow yourself the gratitude for sitting and joining us in meditation this morning. Have gratitude for being grateful. Life is with you, not against you. You are supported. Set your intention for the day. And what direction do you want to go? Do you want to learn and grow? Do you want to celebrate? Do you just want to enjoy yourself and have fun today? What do you want to bring into the world today? What would you like to receive today? Take a deep breath all the way down into your belly. Allow yourself to be calm and relaxed and step into the day with a sense of certainty. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. Life will reflect back to you what it is you are looking for today. And you can bring a sense of joy and lightness, not just to your life, but into the lives of the people around you. Don't waste the day. Don't waste the opportunity to be alive, to contribute, to share, to express yourself. Every day on this planet is a divine miracle. Have gratitude. Have intention. And have an amazing day. Namaste.
Thank you, Tony. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Julie Matheson. I'm a practitioner here at the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living, and I'm going to be sharing today's announcements with you. Everyone is invited to the Zoom Sunday celebration, and our services will be live streamed to our YouTube channel at Columbus CSL. We'll post the video later to our Facebook page. Please feel free to share our service from our YouTube channel to your own Facebook page. For everyone on Zoom today, please feel free to turn your video on so we can see each other, and please keep yourself muted. Muted is good. Thank you to those who have completed your 2021 pledge cards and have returned them to the CCSL office. Great job. If you haven't mailed yours in, that's okay, you still can. Our 2021 pledge campaign amount reached to date is $58,228. If you haven't received your pledge campaign packet and/or would like to receive one, please contact Robin at spirituallivingcolumbus.org, and a pledge card will be mailed to you or can be sent to you electronically. Thank you for your continued support of Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. Please join us later today, December 6th at 12 to 2 p.m. for a special community meeting for our special community. Today's meeting will be about developing goals and an operational plan for our center. Let's come together in a process led by member Jim Matheson, Reverend Gregory Toole, Core Council Chair Margie Sammons, and Prosperity Core Leader Kristen Pierce, where we will start to define a longer-term plan for our center. We'll look out 5 years and ask, where do we want to be? And discuss what we need to be doing today to get there. Jim is a successful entrepreneur and investor and is a professor at the Harvard Business School and advises different companies and organizations on strategy. As we begin to cast our net for our next senior minister, let's get clear on where we're going so that we're clearer on who we need to lead us. That just makes sense. To join the community meeting, use the same link as today's Sunday celebration. You can find it in the recent CCSL Weekly Word e-newsletter or see the event on our Facebook page. Mark your calendars for our next Open Hearts Open Mic this Friday, December 11th from 9 to 7 p.m. via Zoom. Watch for your upcoming CCSL weekly Word e-newsletter for the Zoom link. You can also find the link on our Facebook page. Would you like to share your amazing talents in an upcoming Open Hearts Open Mic? If so, and I hope you do, because you really can share anything, contact Jim Hetzer at jahetzer, that's JAHETZER, at sbcglobal.net. Hey, guess what? We now have a suggestion box where you can send your ideas, feedback, and suggestions. And it's not really a box, but rather an email. And you can email them to this really cute email address, ccslsuggestionbox@gmail.com. I love that, ccslsuggestionbox@gmail.com. Your feedback is always welcomed and appreciated. It really is. The 2021 spiritual journals are now available for purchase. The journal is just $14.95 plus shipping and handling. To order your journal, go to csl.org, and at the top of the homepage, click on Shop, and it will direct you to make your purchase. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Help us share shining smiles, sparkling eyes in the community's faces. Mask or no mask, your choice. We will show your pictures in our Sunday celebration. Please send us a picture of yourself and send your pictures to robin@spirituallivingcolumbus.org so we can share the faces of God in our virtual Sunday celebration. And lastly, if you would like prayer after service or anytime throughout the week, you can find our prayer practitioners on our website at columbuscsl.org, or you can submit a prayer request on our website. That is the news for today. Let's all sing our opening song.
Open up and be yourself. Open up and free yourself and shine that light. Speak your mind. Show them who you really are. Show them you're a shining star of brilliant light. The week was long, but now we're lighting up so bright. Our open hearts show the love we feel inside, and this happiness we share with you. Open up and be yourself. Open up and free yourself and shine that light. The week was long, but now we're lighting up so bright. Our open hearts show the love we feel inside, and this happiness we share with you. Open up and be yourself. Open up and free yourself and shine that light. Open up and free yourself and shine that light. Open up and free yourself and shine that light.
Thank you, Carissa, and good morning, everyone. I am Reverend Gregory Toole, your interim minister, and so good to see everyone. So good to have our service this morning and be in community. And so thank you for joining us on Zoom. Thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel, Columbus CSL. And if you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. You'll get notices about when we're going live and all kinds of good stuff like that. And don't forget to ring the bell on YouTube if you know what that means. So ring the bell and sign up, subscribe, and a recording of today's service will also be posted on our Facebook page. So let us read our mission statement together. This beautiful mission statement about who we are, what we do, who we be in the world. Let us read this together. Yes, we serve the transformation of individual lives through education, spiritual practice, and deep community using spirit and science of mind principles as our compass. I'd like to thank practitioner Tammy Evans for the meditation this morning and also for holding high watch for our service today. And also I'd like to bring back right now practitioner Julie Matheson, who did a wonderful job this morning as well. Julie.
Thank you. Good morning again. We now begin our service, our sacred service, with the ringing of the bowl. I would now like to introduce our community member and my husband, Jim Matheson, who will be giving us the reading this morning. Over to you, Jim.
Julie. Thank you. This morning's reading is from Gay and Kathleen Hendricks' book, Conscious Loving, The Journey to Co-Commitment. Think of you and another person standing in the light of the sun. You have yourselves and you have the two shadows cast where each of you has blocked the light. There is the relationship between the two of you as real people, and there is the relationship between the two shadows. The shadow is the part of us we do not know about. It is the hidden repository of all our old feelings and patterns. You come into the relationship bringing a shadow with you, as does the other person. If you and the other person do not look into what these shadows contain, your relationship will be between the two shadows instead of the two of you as real people. At the moment of emergence, when the old feelings and patterns kick into gear, you have only a brief moment to take effective action. If you let it slides back into the shadow, into codependence. Exactly what is this effective action? It is so simple, so powerful, and so profound that there is a centuries-old conspiracy against it. The only effective action is to see and say the truth.
Powerful words. Thank you so much, Jim. And now let's let the music take us within.
In your struggle, in your fight, you are loved. In your darkest, deepest night, you are mine. All your shadows and your light, I love them just the same. In your depths and at your heights, I love you just the same, just the same. All you feel, all you hear is in my heart. Every chapter, dark or bright, is my life. All your shadows and your light, I love them just the same, just the same. In your depths and at your heights, I love you just the same, just the same. If you don't feel like loving life, love you just the same. Ooh,
Just the same. Just the same.
just the same, just the same, just the same.
Just the same.
Ooh, just the same.
I love that song. I love that song, Carissa and Tony and everyone who created that beautiful music. Please join me in affirmative prayer for our service today, where we just center and think about the time we're going to spend together. And I acknowledge and recognize that we're part of an abundant universe that is pure love, pure joy, pure goodness, and ease and grace all the time. It is right here, right now, in each one of us and in everyone present everywhere. And I'm just grateful for this peace and clarity and goodness and grace that is within us and around us, and that we can come together on Sunday and celebrate it and tap into it and remind each other of it. And I just know that today's service is blessed in every possible way, that whatever you came here for today, whatever we each came here for today, we do receive that and something even better, something even surprising and insightful. And for this, I'm so grateful. I know that today's service is blessed in every possible way. The music is blessed. Reverend Gregory is blessed, and that his words are beautifully received and understood and able to be used. And for this, I'm so grateful, and I release this into the law to be made manifest in our experience. And please join me in saying, and so it is.
all your shadows and your light, I love them just the same. In your depths and at your heights, I love you just the same. Oh,
Just the same. Just the same.
just the same, just the same, just the same.
Just the same.
Ooh,
Just the same.
just the same.
Please bear with us as we get this music video going here. All right, well, we're just going to go right ahead and carry on here. Perhaps we'll get that song queued up at another point in the service. So good morning again. I'm Reverend Gregory Toole, and one of the things that you're seeing in terms of us queuing up that video is we're making a few changes to around the music right now because of what we recognize is that we're not the size that we once were, and that means that the level of income we have is not what it used to be either. So we're making some temporary adjustments that will have a mixture of live music and sometimes recorded music, but nonetheless, we will always have good quality music coming through, and we give so much thanks to our musicians and to Carissa and Tony for allowing us to use some of that recorded music from Carissa's YouTube page. We're so grateful to them. And so we know that as we just embrace where we are right now, as opposed to where we once were, that we lay the foundation for stepping into the greater and the greater yet to be, which is the exciting part of our evolution here as the search committee gets ready to post the profile and call in the new minister. There begins the new stage of growth and expansion into the newness that wants to happen. And I'm absolutely sure that we will not only bring back all the great music, we will expand upon it as we go forward here. But sometimes we have to take a pause and step back a little bit and accept and embrace where we are at this moment. So we have done that. The core council is being very good stewards of the church's finances, the center's finances, and off we go into the greater yet to be. And with that, this afternoon's community meeting is so important. We really want your involvement, your participation. And we have Jim Matheson, who brings such a great background in business and strategy and teaching at Harvard Business School and all those kinds of great things that he does. And he will lead us through some really great process. So I hope you'll participate and kind of catch the vision of where do we want to go long term, which really helps us know what kind of minister we want to call in based on where it is that we want to go. So I hope you'll join us after service for that. And with that, this morning, I want to talk to you about embracing the shadow or welcoming the shadow. And that the shadow are those parts of us that we usually often, if we're not really aware of it, those are the parts of us we don't want to see, we don't want to acknowledge, we don't want to even look at. Those are those maybe our dark side, maybe those thoughts we have sometimes that aren't so pleasant, especially us being in science of mind, we're very positive, but what happens when you have a negative thought about someone, or you feel jealous about someone, or you feel sexual feelings towards someone that you shouldn't be having sexual feelings toward? What do we do with all of that shadow material? And the clear answer is that we embrace it, because all of you is God, all of you is divine, and we don't have to act on the shadow material to embrace it. So to embrace it is actually to allow it to exist within us in a really healthy way, as opposed to where we repress it, and then it has to show up in some really unhealthy way. So I want to share with you a quote from the Smithsonian Science Program for Young Children. It says, this is the scientific aspect of what a shadow is. What is a shadow? A shadow needs a light source and an object. A shadow is light blocked by an object. The object can block all or part of the light. Shadows change size based on how close they are to the light source. So it's kind of like a metaphor for, us as in our being and our light. And the greater our light is, then we cast a shadow as well, because we're really all of that, right? We're really all of the possibilities, right? And so our light also casts a shadow, right? Our desire, like in Science of Mind, or for myself as a minister, to be loving and kind and compassionate and gentle, and then there's those parts of us that are also real and to be embraced, right? Like, what if I'm feeling angry with someone, right? What do I do with that? Well, for me, what I do with that in being healthy with this shadow aspect is I embrace that anger, right? And I welcome that anger in, and I fully feel that anger, and then I allow it to inform who I am. And so I can be with that anger in a really healthy way. What happens oftentimes, because collectively as a society, we don't really allow for anger. Anger is really not okay. It's like not an okay emotion, and it's even less okay for certain people, right? Like sometimes men are, the societal norm says men are allowed to have anger, women aren't allowed to have anger. But overall, really kind of none of us are really allowed to have anger. It's like not okay. Whereas anger is something we've all experienced at some point or another. So if we can just embrace that anger is a possibility and just embrace that and see where it's coming from, then it just becomes a part of our path. It just becomes, oh, where am I blocking the light, right? Because the shadow is just an object that is blocking the light. So as I look at the anger in that way, it's like, oh, what is this that it wants to inform me about myself and my path, that wants to show me where there's an obstacle, where there's a blockage, where I'm not seeing, experiencing, and knowing truth in this moment. And then it can just pass and not be a big deal. I think about myself, and I see, that I'm a very generous person in general. I'm very generous, right? But then sometimes I look at selfish aspects of myself, right? Where it's like, whoa, wow, you're really being selfish there. And at the same time, then I look at what's really trying to happen there. And what's really trying to happen there and being selfish is I'm trying to give myself care. And I'm trying to set boundaries to be safe and to feel whole and to feel protected and to feel nurtured. So the selfishness is in itself not trying to create something negative in me. It's not a negative thing coming up in me. It is really serving this higher purpose. And so once I realize that it's serving this higher purpose, then I don't have to be selfish outwardly, right? I can be like, oh, I'm not being selfish, like as in blocking other people out, or as in only wanting to take care of myself and not wanting to take care of others. I'm taking care of the self, right? And so, this becomes something I don't have to hide from. I don't have to condemn myself and criticize myself and say, wow, look how selfish you are. It's like, oh, I'm needing some self-care right now. Oh, I'm needing to set some boundaries right now. And then it becomes part of my light, right? Because I discover this object that is blocking the light, right? This thing that has me not understanding the selfishness, has me not understanding what I'm needing in that particular moment. Someone asked me recently how I responded to someone's question that they asked me, and I jokingly said, I told them to go stuff it, and it was a funny moment, but that's kind of like that shadow material, right? Because that is sometimes, as a minister, I always want to approach everyone with love and care and compassion, right? But there is that shadow, right? There is that those moments where you just would want to just tell someone to shove it, right? And that's the shadow. We don't have to run from that. Like, I don't have to think, oh, what a terrible minister I am that I want to tell someone to shove it. No, I can go, oh, what is that in me, right? What is that I'm needing right now? It's like, oh, maybe my tank is a little bit low here. Right? Maybe I don't have as much to give right now. Maybe I need to retreat a little bit. Maybe I need a little bit of self-care, a little bit of self-love. Maybe that's becoming a theme here. There's also a Bob Newhart video that some of you may have seen from Matt TV called Stop It. And it's really the ultimate shadow of a psychotherapist, right? Because in this video, he's doing the exact opposite of what a psychotherapist normally does. This person's coming in and telling her problems and her issues to him. And he's like, okay, well, here's what I got for you. Okay, I want you to take a pause and I want you to just take this in. And his advice to her is, stop it. Just stop it. Well, he's like, well, I'm afraid of this. No, just stop it. Right? And it's the shadow side of a therapist, right? Because the therapist normally is showing up with love and compassion and listening and caring and patience. And it's that shadow side, right? There's probably those times where the humanness comes in, where they can't listen anymore, right? They can't hear anymore. Their own tank needs to be refilled. And so in recognizing that, then it doesn't really become an issue anymore. It's like, oh, okay, I'm recognizing this shadow aspect of me. And those are parts of the human condition, right? We all feel those things at times. We might feel rage at times. I came across this psychotherapist named Chris Purry, or no, I'm sorry, that's not the one I want to quote, Sheri Sachs. And she works with women over 60. And she had some very interesting things to say about her work with women over 60 and the shadow. So let me read what she said. She said, women in my life, clients and friends, ordinary, decent, lovely women tell me secret tales of their innermost dark side. Rage that feels intense. Wildly inappropriate sexual fantasies starring best friends' husbands, priests, or the gender that they do not usually partner with. Wishes for revenge. Bitterness, jealousy of our dearest friends. Desires to disappear and escape from our families. This is normal. These are thought, not action. So these feelings, these energies within us are normal for us to have. They have so many roles to play of self-protection, of self-care, of self-love, of self-compassion, of being fully expressed. Right? Of being fully expressed. These are elements of us. And so we allow all of that, and in allowing all of that and embracing all of that, we don't actually have to act it out. We don't have to actually act these things out, but we embrace these parts of ourselves because there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. There is not this thing you have to hide about yourself. It's like everyone has these same elements that are part of the human condition, some of it part of our biological evolution that were designed for our survival at some point, but they still exist in us as human beings. They still exist in our animal nature, if you will. Now we're more conscious now. We have transcended a lot of those things, so we don't really need them to act upon anymore, but they are a part of us. And if we push them down and don't want to look at them and don't want to embrace them, we're kind of like dividing ourselves and we're cutting ourselves off. And whenever we divide ourselves and whenever we cut ourselves off, we block the flow of energy. We block the flow of our creativity. We block the flow of our self-expression. What if you could find a way to embrace all those aspects of you? What if you could stop criticizing and judging yourself? What if you could say, oh, if I have that, it must be a normal emotion, right? If I have an emotion, it must be something normal to have. It's just a feeling, right? It's just something emerging within me that probably has some information for me. And what if I could just take the information that it has for me and let go of all of the self-criticism and judgment and just take what it has to offer me and embrace it, and even bring in, as this psychotherapist Sheri Sachs said, and I also do quite well myself, is bring in humor into it. Be able to laugh at yourself, right? It's like if we have a sexual fantasy about someone that we shouldn't be having a sexual fantasy about, why couldn't we laugh about that, right? And say, oh my goodness, look what I'm thinking about right now. Isn't that something? Right? And just allow it, right? And just allow it to pass, right? Or even if it stays around for a little while, we can just embrace it and we can see what that is trying to inform us about. In this book, Conscious Loving, that Jim Matheson did the reading from, Gay Hendricks shares, and he wrote this book with his wife. He shares an experience where he was having sexual fantasies about a younger woman that was in both of their lives, an acquaintance, I believe it was. And he was sharing about how he just opened up with his wife and even with the person about it, because he has those kinds of authentic relationships where they could actually even talk about that. And it was dissipated in the bringing it into the light as opposed to keeping it down. And what he discovered, I believe, I'm remembering this from when I read the book a while back, but I believe what he discovered about himself in that situation was that he was, feeling into his own aging, right? And he needed to tend to some of his fears and concerns about getting older. And the way it was showing up as shadow material was in him fantasizing about this younger woman, even though he loves his wife and he's been with his wife for 30 plus years or whatever. So we just get to allow this shadow material to inform us, and we get to embrace it so that we don't divide ourselves and we don't become divided against ourselves, and we are able to love ourselves fully. Because how can we love ourselves fully if there are all these parts of us we have to hide, all these parts of us we can't talk about, all these parts of us we can't share? What if we could share? What if we could be that authentic with each other? Not with everyone. Probably don't want to go around telling everyone our shadow stuff, but our closest friends to be able to say, would you believe what I was thinking? Or I was feeling all this rage, or I was feeling all this anger, or I was feeling jealousy. Or could we even tell our friend, wow, I was really feeling envious of you, or I'm really feeling jealous of you. I'm not sure why I'm feeling jealous of you, but I really am. And I just want to acknowledge that so that nothing wonky happens between us, or nothing weird. We don't start to have a weird feeling. I just want to tell you that I love you and I care about you and you're wonderful. And somehow right now I'm having these feelings of jealousy, and I'm working with that to see what that is, because, we know it's really about us. It's not about the other person, but it's informing us about something about us. And maybe that jealousy of the friend is informing us that we're feeling insecure about where we are in life, and that we need to embrace where we are in life and embrace who we are, as opposed to maybe a comparison we're having with that other person. Sherry Sachs, the psychotherapist who works with women over 60, said, banish the shame. This is the first step toward unconditional self-acceptance. You are not the only one with unacceptable thoughts, desires, and impulses. Really great advice. And she tells a story where she says, a few years ago, an older, well-dressed woman walked into my therapy office. She seemed agitated. Nervously, she told me that she was unable to eat or sleep because she was troubled by sexual fantasies about her best friend's husband. Not a word or action had ever passed between them, but for the past 6 months, these desires were upsetting her. She felt ashamed and confused. She said, I've always been a moral, kind person. This is simply not me. And so we get to work with that material again to see it's really something about us. It's really not something about this other person out there. It's really something that's emerging in us that's needing attention, that's calling for our attention. It's calling to be brought into the light. There's some object that's blocking the light, as the science, in the physical world, say what a shadow is. It's an object blocking the light. So what our examination, our self-inquiry can become what is blocking the light. And the way that we get there is not by pushing the shadow down and hiding the shadow and not looking at it. We don't get there that way, because then it just remains buried and hidden. The way that we get there is we begin to embrace that feeling. We begin to welcome that feeling. We begin to welcome those thoughts and follow them where they go. It's like, what is this about for me? What's going on in me right now? In our class yesterday, we have this class, Spiritual Principles and Practices, and it's a small number of us in there. And so we're all like in it together, instructors, facilitators, whatever. We're just all in it together, sharing with each other. It's more like almost more like a study group at this point than it is a class, but it's wonderful. It's a wonderful intimacy there. And we did this exercise yesterday where we looked at destructive behaviors, like what are your destructive behaviors that block you from achieving what you want to achieve? And so we did this exercise where we first identified the destructive behavior, and then rather than saying, okay, well, let's like get rid of that, let's like tear it down, like this is this terrible part about you, we went a different direction in embracing it. And we said, so what is the higher intention of that behavior? Rather than saying, how do you get rid of that behavior? It's a recognition that there's something higher going on. There's something greater going on. It's not that you're some bad person or that you're flawed. There's something greater going on. There's something that wants attention. So we asked, what is the higher intent? And you can ask yourself as well, what is the higher intention of that behavior? And then an answer would come like mine was perfectionism. The destructive behavior was perfectionism. And so I had a person that was asking me, the questions over and over again. And so it's like, okay, so what's the higher intention of this perfectionism? And it was like peace, right? I want to be at peace. And then it went on to several different layers where it was like, I want to be fully creatively expressed. And then there were other layers of it. And finally, what it came down to in the end, and keep asking that question, what are you getting from peace? And what are you getting from creativity? And what are you getting from freedom? These were all of my answers. And what are you getting from that? And the final thing of what I was getting was joy and bliss. And so it was like, oh, like this perfectionism, this behavior of perfectionism is like this blockage to me experiencing joy and bliss. This is what I'm really going for, is joy and bliss. So I kind of get to work with that and say, how do I embrace more joy and bliss so that I can release this need to be in perfectionism, this need to be perfect, right? Can I just be in the joy of what I'm doing? If I'm in creative mode, I'm creating something rather than perfectionism running it. How about if joy and bliss ran it? Because I love the creative process, but if perfectionism comes in, then it becomes not so enjoyable. So it's a reminder to me that can I come, rather than looking at the perfectionism and that shadow material as something negative, it's like, oh, this is pointing me to that I'm not spending enough time when I'm in my creative process of just being in the joy and the bliss of it. I'm thinking too much about, I want it to be perfect. I want it to be just right. And then that kind of shuts out the joy. That's what's blocking the light in that moment, right? Is this perfectionism, this need to have it all be perfect, which of course it's always perfect and yet it's never perfect, right? It's always divinely perfect and yet it's never perfect by our human judgment. There's always like, oh, but this isn't right or that's not right, but it's always perfect divinely. So what is blocking the light for you that is casting that shadow? Where is this thing, right? This behavior or this thought or this feeling you're having that is shadow material, that seems inappropriate, that seems like, oh my goodness, I can't look at that. I don't want to deal with that. What's the higher intention that that's trying to reveal? What is that trying to give you? And we peel back the layer of the onion. If you use this exercise you at first ask, what is the higher intention of this? And then each answer that comes, you keep asking this follow-up question, and what does that give you? And what does that give you? And what does that give you? Or you could ask it, what do you get from that? And then we get to that place where it's like, oh, what I get from all of that, when I really peel it back, in my case, was joy and bliss. So I'm needing to express more joy and bliss, and I'm needing to be more in my joy and bliss when I'm in my creative process and have my attention be there. So now the shadow material has served a purpose, and now it can dissipate, right? Now it can dissolve. Even in the just having the awareness of it, there was already a lightness right? There was already a letting go of that part of me that might judge myself, that part of me that might criticize myself, right? Because who wants to be in that space of perfectionism and knowing that like it's not a good energy when I'm in that perfectionism? I mean, if it were a positive energy, it would be great. If it were just like, you know, I have really high standards and I want to create this excellence, that would be really good. But I know that when I speak of the energy of perfectionism, it's this lower energy. It's this dragged down energy. You know, it's this sapping of energy. You know, it's like, oh, it's almost like, well, I can't even get it perfect, so why even bother, right? So it's almost like it causes me to not be fully engaged with what I'm doing, or even to put aside what I'm doing and procrastinate it, for example, because it's like this draining energy. And so by embracing that shadow material, by embracing that, I'm able to see that, oh, what it really is pointing me to is my great desire to be in joy and bliss and love and fully enjoy my creative process. Yes. Hmm. So I'm going to share a little bit more from Conscious Loving. They say that Gay and Kathleen Hendricks say that many times in counseling, we have been told something like this: I never knew that I was an angry person until I got into that relationship. The power of close relationships to bring forth shadow parts of ourselves can never be underestimated, they say. Of course, they call out our best too, but in order to experience this joy for extended periods of time, we need to handle the shadow feelings that emerge. They go on to say many of us blame our relationship problems on a lack of love, but it is actually the love in the relationship that has brought forth the issues. A close relationship is a powerful light force, light, springing light. And like any strong light, it casts a large shadow. When you stand in the light of a close relationship, you must learn to deal with the shadow. Most of us arrive at our adult relationships with a backlog of ancient hurts, fears, and angers. The source of these wounds has often been forgotten, so that it looks like our current relationships are causing us to hurt. They say that if you and the other person do not look into what these shadows contain, your relationship will be between two shadows instead of the two of you as real people. And that's the way many of our relationships are, you know, where we can't understand why they're not so satisfying. Oftentimes, they really are a relationship between our two shadows. They're not even a relationship between the two people. It's just the two shadows meeting each other. Your hurts and anger, your hurts and unhealed places, talking to my hurts and unhealed places. And those two never usually have a very good relationship, where it becomes a very convoluted or very codependent kind of relationship. But if we can become aware of our shadows and acknowledge our shadows and bring our shadows into the light, and as the quote that Jim read earlier said, tell the truth about what's really going on, right? So telling the truth about what's going on would be to acknowledge that shadow part of us. Like right now, I'm feeling really insecure here with you. Instead of the shadow would cast something totally different, right? The shadow would cast, anger, or the shadow would cast that the other person did something, and because they did that, we're upset with them. But the truth might be, I'm feeling really insecure right now, or I really feel my abandonment issues are coming up right now, and I'm really afraid that you might leave me, right? That is the shadow material that, if it's acknowledged and brought into the light, can be dissipated and can bring us closer to that other person, and bring us, more importantly, even closer to ourselves, more authentic with ourselves, more whole within ourselves. Can we acknowledge these parts of ourselves that seem so dark, that seem so much like, wow, that's not me, that's not who I am, I have to hide that because that's not who I am. And in essence, it really isn't who we are, but it is a part of us that is shadow material that is not bad, right? So much in society, so many of our societal ills come forth because of our inability collectively to deal with the shadow. This one I talked about earlier, our unwillingness to allow anger to be okay means that everyone tries to repress and suppress their anger. And so we see anger come out in really destructive ways. Whereas if it were just okay to feel anger and to say, I feel angry right now, that would be really healthy. And we wouldn't need to have it come out in all these really destructive ways after being repressed and suppressed. Same with sexual feelings, right? We have a very, collectively in this country, we have a very, what I've always thought as a very schizophrenic way with sexuality, right? On the one hand, we have our puritanical roots where you're not supposed to be sexual at all. You're not supposed to have any sexual feelings or thoughts at all. And then we have like our freedom side where we just flaunt sexuality everywhere on TV and, just all in your face. And it's kind of like that back and forth. It's like, which one is, okay? And what's really okay is that we are sexual beings and we have sexual feelings. That's the truth of who we are, right? And so we don't have to shut that down. We don't have to feel guilty because we have sexual feelings. And those sexual feelings sometimes might be toward someone that's inappropriate. And by embracing that and really looking at that, we don't necessarily have to act it out, right? We can just recognize like, oh, there are some sexual feelings that I'm having right now. And we can have conscious choice as to what we would do with those. But sexuality is such a powerful force. It's such a powerful energy. I mean, it creates life itself. It procreates. I mean, sexuality is a very powerful energy. So it makes us afraid. And so throughout the millennia, we've had many, many situations where the fear of our sexual energy, the fear of our sexuality has really caused all kinds of societal ills. So what if we could embrace that aspect of ourselves, all of it, that we have sexual feelings? And sometimes we might have sexual feelings and thoughts about someone that we're not supposed to. And as long as we're conscious about it, then we can make conscious choices about it that are wholesome and that serve us and that serve others and that aren't, these really unhealthy ways of expressing it that turn out to be societal ills. So what if we could get real? I guess the invitation today really is for us, all of us individually and collectively, to get real with each other, to get real with ourselves, to really be able to acknowledge like, yes, there are these parts of me. Yes, I'm beautiful, I'm amazing, I'm powerful, I'm creative, I'm loving, I'm compassionate, I'm divine. And there are other energies that operate in me and in us, and that's okay. That's okay. We can laugh at this shadow material, right? We can laugh at some of this that may have ancient roots of biological evolution, or might have ancient roots of human race consciousness, things that have been suppressed, things that aren't even ours to own. It's just something that exists in us that we get to look at and bring into the light. And then we start to disperse that shadow and dissolve that shadow and see it as the opportunity to bring forth more light, to see it as the opportunity to say, oh, something's blocking my light right now. Let me take a look at what that is that's blocking the light. Oh, that's what it is. And then we can have this healthy relationship with our shadow, and we can be not divided against ourselves and not divided against others, and not judgmental on ourselves and not judgmental toward others. And our behaviors become so wholesome and our relationships become so real and authentic. This is the opportunity for us. So blessings and thank you for listening today, and let us take that into prayer. And so we turn within to recognize that God truly is all there is. God is all there is, so there can be no part of us that is not God, that is not divine, that is not good. And so I know that we are divine expressions of that one. We are whole, perfect, complete, each one of us. We are the divine in expression, even with our shadows, even with those dark elements in us that are really just places that are bringing our attention to where we are blocking the light. Simply that and nothing more. And so I speak this word today to know that we are courageous and brave in looking at our shadows and embracing our shadows and bringing them into the light so that the light can dispel the shadows and that we can have this healthy relationship with ourselves and with others. I know that this is what is taking place, and I know that good and only good is unfolding in our experience. In great gratitude for this truth, in great gratitude for all the good that is right now pouring forth, I release this word, I let it be. I know that it is done and all is well. And we ground it together with the words, and so it is. Amen. And we'll hear another song. Well, we'll see if we can get a song queued up here today.
Sending blessings to all of you all over the world. May you be blessed. May your days be bright. May your heart be light. May the ever shining light your way through the night. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May your path be open and the wind at your back. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May the ever shining light your way through the night. May you be blessed. 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 Blessings.
Thank you, Carissa and Tony, as we pull one from the archives there. Such a beautiful song. So we've reached the time for the giving of our gifts, and thank all of you for the ways that you continue to support the center during these times. All of you who have pledged, those of you who are still planning to pledge can still send your pledge cards in, and even those of you who have not pledged, we do recognize that this is a unique year we're in right now, and some people may not feel comfortable pledging because of, not knowing, feeling maybe a little bit more insecure about where the money is coming from next year. So we honor all of that, and we thank you for the ways that you continue to support the community. And we're happy to be able to provide you with these services and all that it is that we do together as a community. And your gifts and donations and tithes allow us to keep going. And of course, we have the excitement of putting out on a posting in a week or so our profile for the new minister, which will have compensation. We'll have a salary that we're offering to this new minister. And so your gifts and donations are really going toward helping us be able to take that next step along this amazing, beautiful journey of the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. And they help us fulfill our vision statement to create a world that works for everyone. And so as we engage with the law of circulation, we remember that God is our source, and we are circulating Spirit's energy in the form of money by giving and receiving. So please say this affirmation with me as it comes up on your screen. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does its good and perfect work and returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
When I open up a channel to receive, when I open up my heart and just believe, when I know I am infinity, when I open up my eyes so I can see, I can feel it, I can feel it, circulation, circulation. When I open up a channel to receive, when I open up my heart and just believe, when I know I am infinity, when I open up my eyes so I can see, I can feel it, can you feel it, circulation, 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 now, circulation.
I know there is only one infinite spirit. This infinite spirit exists in all and is available everywhere, always, endlessly abundant and inexhaustible. And I give so much thanks. I am so grateful for the gifts we have received today, the gifts we received in the talk. Yes, we can embrace our shadow. There's great information in the shadow. And what is the highest intention of that behavior? We can ask these questions and we can receive greater information. And we are so grateful for this time together today. We're grateful for these gifts and offerings. Thank you so very, very much. And please join me and join us all as we sing.
And so it is, and so we let it be. And so it is, and so we let it be.
Let's thank our practitioners, Tammy Evans for the meditation and Julie Matheson on platform. Let us also thank Jim Matheson for the reading and our song leader, Carissa Holmes, along with our center trio, Tony Bernardo on piano, Joe Nelson on drums, and Steve Parakis on bass. Carissa, Tony, and Joe and Steve have all collaborated their musical talents to provide the music for today. Thank you to all of you that are here with us today for our Sunday celebration. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Thank you for being here. And we would love to send you a welcome packet in the mail. So please just send us a private Facebook message, or you can reach out to our office as well, and we'll be happy to send you a packet in the mail that gives you more information about who we are. And so let us say this blessing together as it comes up on the screen. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And so it is.
Go in peace, live in love. May the Spirit bless you with all your heart dreams of. Go in peace, live in love. you, my friend. Go in peace, live in love. May the Spirit bless you with all your heart dreams of. Go in peace, live in love. May the Spirit bless you, my friend. All through your life, every day, walk on the path that leads to what is true. Whoa, whoa, true. All through your life, everything, make a way for your heart to open the door for you. Go in peace, live in love. May the Spirit bless you with all your heart dreams of. Go in peace, live in love. May the Spirit bless you, my friend. Go in peace, live in love. Ooh, yeah. Go in peace, live in love. May the Spirit bless you. Spirit bless you. Spirit just bless you, my friend. Peace, blessings, and love to the shadow. Have a beautiful week.